picture this. It's 1788 and the mighty Austrian army is on the move, ready to crush the Ottoman Empire with all the discipline and coordination you'd expect from a well-oiled military machine. Except, well, they didn't get the memo about the well-oiled part. Instead, they delivered history's most spectacular case of friendly fire, literally. The stage was set in Karánsebes, modern-day Romania, where Austrian troops were camped, waiting to face the Ottomans. But waiting is boring, and soldiers have historically had one solution for boredom: alcohol. A group of enterprising Hussars, Hungarian cavalrymen, decided to scout ahead, and more importantly, scout the local liquor supply. They found some schnapps, because nothing says military strategy like pre-battle day drinking. Meanwhile, the infantry, left behind and presumably very sober, noticed the Hussars were having all the fun. Naturally, they demanded a share of the booze. The Hussars, now protective of their precious schnapps, refused. Words were exchanged, punches were thrown, and someone, probably the guy who'd had one too many, had the brilliant idea to shout, "Turks, Turks," to scare off the infantry. What happened next was like a Monty Python sketch, but with more muskets. The infantry, now convinced the Ottomans were attacking, formed battle lines and started shooting at the Hussars. The Hussars, equally confused and possibly still tipsy, returned fire. Officers screamed orders in German, soldiers shouted in a dozen other languages, and somewhere in the madness, an artillery unit decided the best course of action was to start firing cannons at their own side. By the time everyone realized there were no Ottomans, the damage was done. The Austrian army had successfully defeated the Austrian army. Estimates vary, but somewhere between hundreds to over 1,000 soldiers were killed or wounded, all thanks to paranoia, alcohol, and what we can only assume was a severe lack of communication skills. When the dust settled and the hangovers kicked in, the Austrians had to explain how they'd lost a battle without the enemy even showing up. The official records? Suspiciously vague. Some historians argue the whole thing might be exaggerated, because nothing says credible military history like an army being too embarrassed to admit they accidentally attacked themselves. The Battle of Karánsebes remains a shining example of what happens when you mix alcohol, poor communication, and live ammunition. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder how empires ever functioned. And yet somehow, Austria still went on to fight actual wars after this. So next time you think your workplace is dysfunctional, just remember, at least your co-workers haven't started a full-scale battle over a bottle of schnapps. Probably.